3.
Hi guys!
Hello!
Welcome to Mike and Lauren Live. We are here every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually it's a little bit more unstructured, less structured. I don't know where I was going
More
with
structured,
that.
usually.
No, it's
Our
less
videos?
structured than our other videos.
Oh, I thought you were
I'm
talking about
the
our
live
videos.
shows.
You forgot something else important, though.
What?
Mike and Lauren Live. High five.
Oh. There you go. So if it's your first time checking us out, go and watch one of our shorter videos. They're a little bit more bite-sized and we speak better, clearly, because I'm not doing so well tonight. So we thought we'd talk about a little bit sort of relationship-y stuff with Valentine's Day coming up. I did want to mention that our big Valentine's Day plans are nothing because Mike already doesn't like holidays and this one's kind of made up, so he hates it, which is fine with me. What else are we going to talk about? Jackie's car.
Yeah, Jackie got a car.
Yeah.
Hooray, Jackie. $1,000. If you didn't see that video, go check it out.
Yeah.
It's been 4 or 5 days. No problema so far. So she went to the Walmart and got a bunch of cleaning stuff and shined it all up herself. So going well so far. What
Pretty
else do we
excited
have?
about that. Our 100th video survey.
Oh, so we have a 100th video coming up soon, right? This should be our 96th. So next Sunday will be our 100th video, and we want to do a survey to ask you guys how we're doing. So we're looking for questions. Like if you've ever wanted to suggest something to us, maybe thought you were alone in that, leave in the comments after the video. Don't do it in the chat. But after the video, leave your comments for suggestions for a survey, some questions that you might say, like, do you prefer DIY or financial videos? Would you like to see more vlog style videos? Would you rather see a vlog style over the live show? Would you like the live show shorter? Like all those kinds of questions.
What topics are you most interested in?
So if you have questions like that, we have a whole list compiled that we'll send out as soon as we film our 100th video. But I think that's it for housekeeping, yes?
I think so.
I think we had some comments already. Let me go check it out.
Ooh.
Cosmo Kramer says, I'm excited and hope my wife that 1,000 miles away is watching too. Very cool. Garrison says, good evening. I recently started watching your videos. Great content. Keep on sharing. Thank you very much, Garrison. I hope that's Garrison. Kevin R says, my molars tap against one another when I eat bananas. Drives my wife up a wall.
I, on that note, drink really loud. When I swallow, it drives me crazy. I can't stop. I don't know. I try.
Like, we'll have little contests. Like, I'll take a sip of water and I'll go and drink silently. And then she goes,
I can't.
Anyways. Greggy says, let's get this party started. Let's do it. Okay. Very good point. Let's get right into it. We've kind of divided this topic into 3 parts. And so being the financial channel that we are, obviously a big portion of this is going to be the financial side of things. But there's also some personal habits that I think there's slight differences between changing someone's financial habits and someone's own personal habits. So to get started, to get the ball rolling, we found this list on the internet of annoying habits. So we're just going to read a couple of them and let us know if any of these pop out to you. This is not necessarily our annoying habits, but we thought this would be fun to read. Does your spouse exaggerate stories at parties? Do they call you a baby name in public? Do they laugh at their own jokes even though no one else thinks they're funny? Putting feet on furniture, laughing shrilly. Do they have a bad laugh? Do they engage in childish bickering? What about constantly asking you how they look? You know, how do these shoes look? How do these clothes look? You have a hair on your nose. I'll get it for you. Thank you. And there's obviously the how to read a map correctly. You know, that's a big, thing you see on TV.
Which I'm great with, right?
Packing too many items on a trip,
I've
Lauren.
gotten much better, Mike.
She has gotten better. Ooh, we should put that one down. We'll put that one down for later.
Thank you.
Spending too much time on the computer. Any of these ring a bell? Being bossy, spending too much money, and we'll end with, on a bang here, using sex as a tool of manipulation.
I don't know, I kind of like the last one. Go back real quick.
Okay.
It says, showing fear when watching a horror film, especially by the guy in the relationship. I think that's such a random thing to be on that list. I don't know, I thought it was funny.
Anyways, what we wanted to do with this video is not just regurgitate what's been on the internet already. If you want to go see what other financial blogs have to say. So we specifically tried not to research too much. We just actually looked up just those list of habits just to see what kind of things we annoy each other with, to kind of get the ball rolling. So how we're going to approach this is, how would we try to change, or should you change, your spouse's habits, both personal and financial, if we weren't looking on the internet. Like if I was just approaching our relationship, how would I approach that? So to start, some examples of things that we have changed about each other.
The first one is me. I think that Mike has made me less easy to anger. I think that when I first met him and our beginning of our relationship, I would get angry really quickly over nothing. And so I think Mike just being the opposite of that has really helped me to balance that. I notice it a lot.
Which is something interesting that you just said, just being the opposite of that, which is kind of ties in with how we kind of want to end the videos, sort of, lead by example type of thing. For me, something that Lauren has helped me with is to make me more punctual. I used to be very relaxed and casual about going places on time. Lauren is the polar opposite of that.
If you're on time, you're late.
Punctual to a fault. So I like to think we've met somewhere in the middle.
Definitely.
Where we are on time to things. Another one is my appearance, or I don't want to say hygiene.
To be fair.
But the way I dress.
Do you see this?
And she plucks my unibrow for me and makes me get a haircut, even though I really need a haircut right now. She's been bothering me for about 2 weeks to get that done. For you?
Well, then kind of moving on to more financial, there have been subtle changes in my money habits. And I was talking with Mike about this, that I've always, been on board, but I kind of would follow along, and Mike would say, this is what we're doing. And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then even Mike was saying that if I could have convinced him to go off track with something, he would have, and I would have been happy with it. Whereas now, I'm like, well, no, we can't do that. And so it's sort of,
it used to be a leader and a follower, and now we have kind of a co-leader relationship, which has just sort of happened over time. Partners in life is kind of what we have now. Let's go to the comments and see what we got. Lindsay doesn't think Chuck Norris comments are funny.
I think it depends on what they are.
I think it depends on what they are, but I think they're hilarious, personally. What's your favorite Chuck Norris joke? How about not being able to decide what to eat for dinner? Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on this.
This is the thing, but it's also who's going to make dinner.
Yeah.
That turns into a thing.
Yeah. Which is me.
Because Mike's home before I am.
Yes, I make dinner.
I usually get home at 7:30. He gets home at 5, so.
Yeah. But when we do go out, especially with friends, where to go is always a very annoying habit. Lindsay here, Greg's wife. Greg has a tendency to watch over my shoulder when I'm doing design work, but he always seems to be chewing food at the time. That's funny. If you were to come into my work office, I have a habit of being a backseat designer as well, in the sense that I don't have any design aptitude, but I definitely have an opinion about how things look. And if you were to ask, say, Liz, who happened to be on our show about...
She was on our first live show.
Our first live show about should there be joint or separate finances, she would definitely agree to that. If any of you guys from work are on the chat, confirm or deny. Okay. So some things that we haven't changed about each other. And there's nothing wrong with this.
No. Now, these first two are actually kind of funny because, again, together we're a great team. If someone's coming over to the house and I have like 5 minutes to clean, I go straight to the sink, to the dishes, and I start putting dishes in the dishwasher.
This is a big argument for us.
It is.
Because I don't think, if you were to walk into a room, into the house, I don't think the dish is being done, but there being Zoe toys all over the floor and...
Zoe's our dog.
Zoe, our dog. And clothes on the floor or blankets not folded. I see cleaning as like picking up. Like if I'm going to spend 5 minutes, I'm going to go around the house and pick things up and organize things a little bit. All the mail on the counter is going to get organized and stuff.
But together, our house looks great.
I'm just saying, you would think that would have rubbed off on one of us at this point, but it has not.
I come home every night and there's a sink full of dirty dishes. I don't know how he gets them.
And I wake up every morning and the dishes are done, but the whole house is a mess. I don't understand it. It's nonsense. It's on the same token. Lauren leaves packaging everywhere. Anytime she gets anything new, if she opens the package, wherever she was at that time, that's where the package stays, and I have to throw it away. Anyways. Okay, let's move on to part 2.
Hey, no, you missed yours. You leave water all over the bathroom sink all the time. He's skipping over some.
Apparently, I leave the bathroom sink wet. Let's talk about Lauren's stuff. Actually, let's go to comments real quick. We're good on comments. Okay, part 2 being... Should you / could you change your spouse's bad habits. And I think now we're kind of shifting more into the money side of things, because I think that's kind of what we're all kind of talking about. But, should you? No, first, could you? And I think absolutely you could. And should you? I think yes, also. But here's why. The first question is, are we attracted to each other for our differences? It's kind of the peanut butter and jelly, and, opposites attract and that sort of thing. Lauren and I are very much opposites in a lot of ways. And I think that has to do a lot with attraction, why we were initially attracted to each other. If you were both the exact same person, how boring would that be? So the question is...
Well, I think, too, it helps you to get a different perspective. That my opinion's different from yours, or I think that together it helps us to be a good team, to have different opinions. So
it would be a very one-sided relationship. So that kind of puts a tally in the, no, you shouldn't change each other. But it's something to consider. You can't expect your partner to be identical to you, and nor should you want that. How boring would that be?
But I think that you have to consider the motive of why you're trying to change someone. If I'm trying to change you because it just annoys me, I think that that's different than trying to better you. I think you helping me to not be so angry or quick to anger, that bettered me. Bettered? Bettered me.
Yeah.
It wasn't him. I think that just the motive has a lot to do with it.
So there's kind of like you could have the motive of wanting to have someone just do the things that you do, which I think is the one that's the negative one. I don't think if you just want your spouse to be, pick any of these random annoying things, putting your feet on the furniture. If you want your spouse to put their feet on the furniture so that they're like you, so they stop complaining about you, I don't think that's necessarily something you want to change. That's what makes you a different and dynamic couple in a relationship. But if it's something, there's a whole other side of addictions and things like that I think it'd be, if it were like alcoholism or something, in that case, absolutely, you should and you could change your spouse's habits. But I think at the end of the day, you can really only change the habits of a person. I don't think you can change their personality. And this is where we kind of wanted input from you. Do you think you can actually change a person? And I don't think you can.
I don't think so, and I don't know why you would want to. I don't know.
Yeah. So if you... I'm trying to think about that. If
I like you, then why would I try to change you?
So then the real hard question is, what if you find out that you don't like your partner's personality? Is that something you should work on? Would you say if two people find out that they don't like each other's personality, should they separate and go separate ways?
I guess it depends on how severe. I don't know. If it was bad enough.
Yeah.
I think so. Is it worth one of you trying to change who you are or the other one being miserable? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I don't think so.
I don't
think so. Let's go to comments for a second. Maybe due to traditional gender roles, the sink is thought of as the women's responsibility. Lauren subconsciously gravitates toward this, while the house is thought of the family's responsibility.
That's interesting.
That's a possibility.
Mike has pointed out that my mom does the same thing with the sink, so
yeah, I think
it
it's more
the way
parental.
That I was brought up.
In fact, because growing up, I can think back to cleaning and picking up, meaning organizing and
I
putting
also
things
do
away.
that.
It's not that neither one. It's not that I never do the dishes and you never pick up. But if you open your eyes to it and you go to your mom's house or you go to my parents' house, and you watch them, they do. Your mom will go straight to the dishes first. My parents will go straight to picking up first. Not that both things aren't getting done. It's just what they put.
My sister did the dish thing too.
Oh yeah, when we stayed with her in Nashville. If that's not conclusive evidence, I don't know what is. Should is if you, or Greggy says, should you change someone else's personality if you both want to get the same goal? No and one can help the other get there. So what are you saying there? I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because then
I don't know if you both want the same thing.
But what if you don't? But in the sense of a saver versus a spender in a relationship, you clearly don't want the same goal that I want. Shouldn't I try and convince you of my goal? Because oftentimes the person with the bad habit has a lack of a goal. Right. So what if I have a goal, you don't have a goal, And so we're not working together towards the same goal. Should I not try and convince you of my goal?
I think you should, but can you get the other person to listen?
Yeah, I think we'll get to that in part 3. I agree. Personalities don't change. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a long, miserable battle if you got to change someone's personality. So let's go to part 3, which is how we would go about it if we were to change someone's habits. Specifically, I guess money-wise at this point. So if you're in a relationship where there's a spender and a saver, which we were very lucky, like as we talked about, we've always both been on the same page. Now we're very much on the same page. We're writing at the same time on the same page. That analogy broke down, but anyways, if Lauren were not on the same page, this is how I would approach it. First of all, I would definitely be very patient, because you could not expect someone's habits to change, not just overnight. I don't think you could expect them to change within months. I would guess you would look at years timeline personally, if I were to look at it. Because you got to think, and I also think about this a lot with like the weight loss thing. You figure it's taking you how many years to gain weight. So if you've neglected your diet for 5 or 10 years, it's taking you that long to build up that weight. And then you expect it to go away in just a few months. Well, I mean, we're very lucky that we can lose weight comparatively very quickly. But obviously, in the same sense, if you had habits for 10 years, I can't expect to break those in less than a fraction of that.
Right.
So I would say, it would take 6 months to a year or something like that. Definitely, I would be very straightforward. This is not something I struggle with, but I know most people
Definitely don't
struggle with confrontation and that sort of thing. Definitely don't beat around the bush and say, and just kind of
be direct.
Right, because you can't expect them to change if you aren't very clear with what you want them to change.
You might have no idea what you're actually saying.
Exactly, and then it could be as simple as an overnight fix. What if you explained just clearly what you were thinking and that made total sense to them? That's a possibility. Along those lines, definitely to not be passive aggressive with things. Mention things under their breath, mention things behind their back. What are other passive aggressive ways you could do things like that? But anyways, back to, it's about sitting them down at the kitchen table, saying we need to talk, spell out your side of the story, let them say their side of the story.
Well, I think it's all about conversation.
Yeah, and being understanding.
Yes.
Because,
You
like
need
you
to see
said,
their side too.
right, there's two perspectives, and how boring would life be if it was all through one lens? Instead, we all have our own to go through. And then, like we said, that you can only change...
You can only change yourself.
Right.
And I kind of commented when talking with Mike that you can only change yourself, but... And so in that line, if I know that Mike appreciates something or likes something specific, then I can change to do that for him. And even an example I used for him was that it's actually something he's done for me, is that he knows that I like surprises and gifts and things like that. And so he has made it a point. Like last year, he surprised me when we went skydiving for my birthday. And that was something that he wouldn't have wanted for himself and he wouldn't have necessarily appreciated, but he knew that I would, so he made it a point to do it. He changed his ways.
And it's not... I think that's what it comes down to, is it's showing... I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's not something that we had to work on. I think that's part of a healthy relationship, is just kind of being in tune with what the other person is kind of feeling. And over time, those things, you can get stronger. You can either choose to get stronger in that respect or divide even further apart. And so it comes back to conversations and knowing what your spouse wants. Let's go to comments and then we'll end this thing. I think when asked, most would say that they're willing to change, but their personality and strong-heartedness could leave them completely... strong-headedness could leave them completely resistant. I think that when asked, most say they're willing to. Yeah.
It's an interesting point.
I would agree with that. And I think it would just be then at that point accountability. Because to diffuse any confrontational situation, most people would just agree and say whatever is needed to be said to pacify the situation. And then it's just holding them to that, I would
About
say.
taking steps forward.
And
creating
taking
a
small
plan.
steps.
Right.
Yeah. I would definitely agree. If money were the situation,
Baby steps.
yeah. And be very clear in those baby steps. Step 1 is we're going to stop spending on this or something.
Right.
Step 2 is we're going
Making
to
set goals, I think,
Right.
is very, and that comes down to being direct and clear.
Right.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to save this much money. We're going to put this much money into an emergency fund.
And if we were to do that, I would say that you would want to say, this is my idea, not this is what we're
Right.
going to do. And let them either choose to accept or reject your plan. And if they reject your plan, then tweak it and try it again. And that's all you can do at the end of the day is if you're clear and you're direct and you're understanding and you're patient and you have a clear defined goal that you're looking for and they still don't accept, then at that point, I think...
Yeah. And even, to be fair, there have been a few things that you have brought up with finances that I've not been on board with right away.
Right.
For instance, the saving 70 to 75% of our income. When you first brought it up and you first crunched the numbers, I said no. I wasn't interested. And we still had been saving, 50% of our income, and I was totally cool with that. But something about that scared me at first, and so
Right.
I had to take
So
a little time.
obviously that's where the patience comes in, because recapping what I just said, it made it sound like, oh, if you lay out this plan and it's foolproof and logical and they don't accept it, then obviously there's nothing else you can do. Well, that's not true. You just have to keep hitting at it until you decide. And that's part of the patience of it. And I think we're all caught up on comments, and I think that's all we wanted to say tonight. Was there anything towards the end? Housekeeping? No, we're good. I think that's it.
Good.
If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Any ideas?
Don't forget about the survey questions,
Yes,
too.
survey questions. That would be great. We're going to do a 100th video spectacular with our survey. So
Yay.
I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
See you Friday.